They loved it so much. They wanted to go back the next night. And I was like, are you sure? Like, you only have like 3 or 4 nights in New York City. You want to eat at the same place twice? Okay. And they loved it. And it was great.
It's great. I mean, I was grateful because, I mean, the people that go there are almost as interesting as the space itself, right? And you know me, I like to flirt with people. So like all like young, old, man, woman, it doesn't matter. I'm like talking to everybody and we had so much fun, and Carmine pulled out a great bottle of wine and he was so sweet, and just, this is something I actually feel like I've experienced quite often here in New York. And probably part of that is because of you, and because, you know so many people, and your relationships are usually very sweet and genuine. But everybody that I meet treats me like I'm a part of the family. Like, you show up, you have me, this is my friend Danielle, and everybody's like, oh my God, hey, come on in. Any friend of Katheryn is a friend, you know. And I will say, generally speaking, this is my experience with New Yorkers. I know that they you know, yes, they're fast paced and frenetic and they have to get all the stuff done all the time. But generally speaking, when you have a moment to connect with somebody from New York, they really are some of the most kind people that I've ever met. And I don't even live here. I'm not from here. And sometimes I get annoyed when people talk about how asshole-ish New Yorkers are. And I'm sure they can be, but generally speaking, they're not. I think they're for the most part, they're really nice. I wouldn't go so far as to say kind. I have a high bar for that one, which is why I told you. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I've been here almost 3 years, and I think there are truly only 3 people that I can say these are just very genuine.
What's your version? What's your definition of kind? Like, what does somebody have to act like in order to make it?
Just people that are giving with no expectation. Mm-hmm. And I just personally think that that's how you should live your life, because...
Well, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah. So I've literally only met 3 in the 3 years I've been here that are just truly very kind. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people here are nice. And nice, that's great as well. It's great. And I agree that a lot of New Yorkers get a bad rap. Yeah. Like, they're so rude. Well, it's like, you're an idiot and probably don't know how to travel. So...
Okay,
there's that.
I'm going to ask you a question that you can answer or you can choose not to answer. I'm looking at all these record albums.
Records. Comedy records.
Yeah, comedy album covers.
Rodney Dangerfield, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin, Steve Martin. Well, I don't know that these people have been here, but this is a solid collection of
why would they have them up there if they haven't been here?
It's just like an homage to amazing comedians. Robin Williams.
I want to know what's behind that door right there.
It doesn't look like it's locked.
Black door, like right below the Stand Up New York Comedy Club and Bar sign. And it just seems very fishy. I'm going to ask.
What was your question?
I was going to ask you about, so definitely we don't have to talk about names. I'm totally okay with that. But you've had some interesting clients over the years that you've been here, that you've worked with, consulted with. I want to know, I know people are quirky here, especially high profile people. In general, it seems like you never get to that level unless you have some sort of quirkiness. Give me some sort of funky story of something that's happened with a client without giving away who they are.
A funky story?
I don't know. Weird shit that famous people do or high profile people do that normal people don't do.
I don't know. I don't know if they have funky behavior, anything like that.
Or just things that we can't relate to. It's a different level of a life that they live and that you and I can't necessarily relate to.
The craziest thing I've seen is that one of the families I worked for have a directory of people to with attorneys and CPAs and things like that, who to contact when. Blah, blah. That was one of the craziest things I've seen.
So
it was welcome
to the family,
in a
Katheryn.
binder.
If anything like this happens, call one of these people.
Yes.
Put them all on speed dial.
Exactly.
That's crazy shit.
That was crazy. That was pretty eye-opening. I don't know if there's anything funky or and maybe it's because I've been here 3 years now where I'm this is just how people
normal.
Here are.
Yeah.
it's just next level, man. There's so much money here. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
It is really hard. Like, it's hard for me to imagine certain situations, like stories that you've told me. And I'm like, and I know that it, until you're in those situations, I guess you don't think about it. But also people who have a lot going on and people who have a lot of money and fame or notoriety or whatever, they have people. And those people, like even you, are the people who put the systems in place. So probably, XYZ person didn't actually make that list, but had a person, an assistant or a manager or something who had to navigate all of those issues and was like, okay, I'm going to put a binder together of all the people that you need to contact. Just in case.
Just in case.
Do you have to sign NDAs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in this city that you would love to work with that you...
Of course. And here I am on the spot.
Put it out into the universe. Yeah, right? Just like me the other day. You're like, who's your wish list? And you can't think of who it is.
I mean, well, I did kind of put together my like little wish list, but for me, I feel like Amy Goodman, I love her. She's the host of Democracy Now! And she's just a champion of good things in the world. I would love to meet, I met her once before, but, I would love to work with her. And Jeremy Scahill, who's a journalist, Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, if she still lives in New York, I would love to work with her. Derek Jeter, even though he's married now, and probably lives most of his time in
Katheryn, by the way,
Florida.
is the not New Yorker who's the hugest fan of the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like, bar none.
Yeah. Well, that's because I said, like, my dad always wished he had a son, but he only had me, and he loved the Yankees because they were the dynasty back in the day. And, I played sports growing up, and I just love baseball, period. It's not like, I don't like football or hockey. It's just too aggressive.
I don't care about football, but
going to a baseball game because it's the best weather time of the year, and you can just sit outside and have a beer and a snack, and it's a long game, and you can like just chat with who you're with and just take it all in.
I did go this summer after I left here. I went up to New England and I went to a Red Sox game with my cousin, and that was a lot, of fun.
That stadium's insane.
Yeah.
It's so small and the seats are so tiny.
It felt so intimate, and we had really great seats, really, really great seats. So
there aren't many bad seats there.
A great game. And it was fun. Like you said, it's the experience, especially if you go with somebody and you're just having fun and you're having hot dogs, and it is good. I'm not a huge I know a lot about football, but I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan anymore. I do like baseball. I do love hockey.
I don't love baseball as much as I used to. I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie. What are
you thinking about the Houston Astros right about now?
Right? That's just top of mind. I was like, I cannot believe what these people are doing. It's so ridiculous. And I started to move away from my love of baseball when Derek Jeter retired. I went to his very last game at Fenway.
I'm going to hashtag Derek Jeter when I put this out, just throwing it out there in case for some weird reason, his person's person says
I would die.
Something. Just so you know, there's somebody in New York who wants to meet you.
There's something respectful, and everybody knows this, who knows anything about baseball, about somebody who can have a 20-year career and just lead with such grace and positivity and be as good as he was. He wasn't the best at this, but he was just solid baseline player and the captain of the Yankees. And so when he retired in 2014, I legit had baseball depression I didn't watch any baseball the next year. And I was just kind of hesitant to get back into it. And then, MLB bought Rawlings and they started juicing the balls. And now this Houston Astros. Allegedly, schmedgedly. I'm sorry. And my grandpa always talks about how there was this era where the same just things you just don't want to have happen to a historic sport. And he always talks about how he went through the same this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Baseball bullshit, period. And I feel like I'm just living that now, and it turns me off a lot. But I mean, I'd still go to a game and just like sit and enjoy company and be outside.
It's fun to go with friends.
Yeah.
My older brother is a huge sports fan. Huge. At least he was as a kid. So we're kind of disconnected a little bit, but I think he still is. His favorite baseball team is Houston Astros and has been since I can remember baseball. So I'm curious as to how he's feeling right about now.
Probably pretty shitty. I mean, that's like next level cheating. That makes Pete Rose look like a saint.
Okay, so yeah, right?
It's terrible.
So I'm going to get nerdy here for a second because I'm not going to remember names, but I remember back in the last time I was really into baseball, it was like 98 or something back there. There was like 2 home run, there was literally competition for the home run record between 2 players in the same year.
Yeah. Mark McGwire, probably.
And Sammy Sosa. Okay.
Back in the steroids generation.
Yes, exactly. And I had a boyfriend who was not American, big surprise, Brazilian, and he didn't know anything about baseball. And we were, I remember being at an event, and we were in a hotel, and it was during the World Series, and these guys were playing against each other. And I made him sit there and watch an entire game. He knew nothing about baseball, absolutely nothing.
But did he act interested?
He did. He totally did. I mean, he was trying to learn. Yeah. He was an athlete as well. So he was just obviously in a different medium, but he was an athlete. So I think he understood, the whole concept of just being enthused about it. And so he'd asked a lot of questions. But that was basically the last time I was really into any sport heavy. And that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well,
that was a freaking long time ago.
How did you originally spark an interest in baseball? And then why do you think it ended?
For sure it was the people. So my brother was the craziest sports fan. Funny. So for a period of time, all during his growing up, his favorite football team was the Dallas Cowboys. This was Roger Staubach era. So it was always about the Dallas Cowboys. But when he would watch a game, so he loved football, he loved baseball, and he loved basketball. He was super tall, thin, great basketball player. So these were his 3 sports. So all year long, basically, there's sports on the TV, and he would be the guy who would be screaming at the TV, jumping up in the air. It was comedy just to watch him watch a game. So I think that's where, and we would fight over the nobody was allowed to watch anything while there was a game on. So we would fight over the TV. So basically, I was stuck watching sports all the time.
My dad used to always make me watch golf. I'm like, this is the worst.
So that's how I got interested. And I followed it. And I was always, because I was the younger sister, I was generally interested in the teams that he was interested in because there was so much enthusiasm around it. And then I think the reason it stopped, I got into car racing just as a career. And so my entire world was racing, and we traveled a lot, and it was just, I didn't have time to watch anything else. And so that went for 20 years, right? And then when I was finished that, the people that I surrounded myself with had nothing to do with any of the sports and really didn't give a shit. So when you're hanging out with people who don't care to watch sports, you just don't watch it. So I would say, I do love sports. Right now, I have nobody to watch sports with. I don't have a partner at home who's interested. I don't have friends that really give a shit about sports. But I do kind of miss it. I really miss I don't know. I love actually. Also, I get very competitive. So just like my brother, if I have a team or if I'm following something, I did this actually a couple years ago when the Warriors, last year, I guess, when the Warriors were in the championship. I get pissed. I get really mad when my team's not doing well. So I tend not to watch because I don't want to be an asshole. I guess it doesn't matter if I'm by myself, right?
Well, we should maybe go somewhere to watch something tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, didn't you and I go to a sports bar? Oh, we were watching soccer. I do love soccer.
I know a guy who knows soccer bars here. I'll text him.
Right. Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
All right. What do you think? You have anything else you want to tell everybody? How awesome stand-up New York is? Someday I'm going to come back here. I'm going to put this out in the news. I'm going to come back. It's not going to be very long.